Those who predicted that World War III would be nuclear were mistaken. It's shaping up to be a war of robots, and we'll prove it to you right now. Remember all those cute videos with dancing robots, or how we admired the robotic dogs? Now look at them today. Skillful movements, clear coordination, and how well synchronized they are. Impressive. It makes you want to buy one of those. And here's where the first problem starts. All of these are available on the market for everyone. That's right. Even a crazed maniac can attach a gun to a newly purchased robot and start a mass shooting. Now these robots don't seem so cute, do they? And you haven't even seen the massive military inventions from the US and China yet, gearing up for a real robo-rivalry on the battlefield. Will there be winners in such a war? Hit the thumbs up and let's dive in. We'll start with one example of equipping a robotic dog with small arms. This is a purely military development and so far experimental. However, just for now. This handsome fella joined the military back in 2021, and now it's guarding the perimeter of the Tyndall Air Force Base as part of the 325th Security Forces Squadron. Doesn't it ring a bell? Here's a Black Mirror episode to refresh your memory. After that, the perception of funny videos changes, like this one, where a robot flawlessly completes combat tasks until it's forced to destroy its own kind. Still, it's just a joke, but there's always only a grain of joke. And if anyone thinks that fully integrating robots into combat service is still a long way off, here's a reality check to temper that optimism. Look at how robots have evolved over the past few decades. From a clanging tin can on a stick to a biomorph surpassing humans in most physical aspects. Furthermore, robots are to be equipped with artificial muscles, and the first steps are already taken in this direction. Billions of dollars are invested in these developments, and none of their commercial endeavors among civilians will turn a profit. These are military innovations. Armies around the world are already learning how to use them on the battlefield. Here, for example, is the training of the French army. The robotic dog heading inside the building for reconnaissance, and machine guns have now become self-propelled, moving across the battlefield on a tracked platform. Infantry can take cover from enemy fire behind a self-propelled shield mounted on a robotic platform. The military acknowledges a series of challenges in such operations, but they also highlight numerous advantages. Quote, "The robots apparently slowed the operation down, but kept troops safer, with one soldier saying he died in the first exercise without Spot, but survived the second time thanks to the robot's reconnaissance. Battery life was supposedly an issue, as Spot ran out of juice in the middle of one exercise." Of course, the French are not the only ones engaged in this practice. Here's what the American Marines training looks like. A lot of self-propelled combat platforms are already in action. Drones are more actively used, and so on. And this training took place back in the middle of the last decade. So you can imagine how combat robots have evolved during this time. It's a good thing we haven't reached the era of robot tanks yet. However, what's this then? And this is Ripsaw M5, a development of the American corporation Textron Systems. It's no longer just a self-propelled joystick-controlled platform. This is a fully fledged battle unit. Well, no, not a single unit. It also carries a reconnaissance drone and a sapper robot. Here's another invention from Estonia, a robot tank. This is Type X by Milgram Robotics. No tank crew is inside it. It is a semi-autonomous combat system equipped with a small caliber gun. However, the list of weapons is only a matter of customer preference, and full autonomy is a matter of software. This robot also has a smaller sibling, Themis, small yet capable. At its core, it's simply a robotic tracked platform. However, it can be equipped with almost any type of weaponry, from machine guns to grenade launchers to anti-tank guided missiles. It can even serve as a base for loitering munitions, also known as kamikaze drones. By the way, Themis is also being tested in Ukraine and other countries where hostilities are ongoing. It can also serve as an unmanned system for evacuating the wounded. Combat robots are more than just ground-based systems or drones. Dozens, if not hundreds, of robot models are already operating under and above the sea surface. They can unite in swarms and flocks, track and attack the victim. This robot surfer seems to be mapping the seabed, but is actually looking for enemy submarines. Check out this creation from Boeing. a robotic submarine that can stay underwater for months and carry various types of payloads. In space, robots are also gearing up for warfare. This applies to both robots aboard spacecraft and autonomous systems that can damage enemy satellites undetected. However, we should not forget about the world of microparticles. Insect robots are no longer a science fiction. They exist and are actively evolving. However, if you believe that the development of combat robots is solely the prerogative of Western countries, you are mistaken. Just like in every other field, China effectively replicates the most promising developments, simplifies them, and puts them into mass production. In a few leaked images slipping past Chinese censorship, we can see some pretty convincing copies that are just as deadly as their Western counterparts. And don't forget, China remains today's powerhouse of global production. How swiftly could they ramp up military production, and what kind of scale are we talking about here? And will the West be able to confront China's clone armies in the event of war? Obviously, China cannot be defeated by quantity. No country in the world can beat China in terms of numbers, even with the number of very intelligent and deadly robots, as China has officially announced that it's implementing total robotization of its military. President Xi Jinping has called for the country to become a world leader in AI by 2030 and has placed military innovation firmly at the center of that program, encouraging the People's Liberation Army to work with startups in the private sector and with universities. By 2035, robot soldiers and advanced drones will be the ones to carry out all foreign military missions. And one can only guess what other inventions remain classified and will be kept secret until they appear on the battlefield. So, what else can we do? How can the Western world maintain its position of influence and reach military parity with China in the development of combat robots? The only way forward is to win with intelligence, artificial intelligence. Western experts are openly stating that artificial intelligence is the new generation weapon, and the world started an arms race with military AI systems. For a while, we shift our focus away from the non-peaceful atom and turn our attention to the ones and zeros, the sequence of which will determine who lives and who dies on the battlefield, or maybe even outside of it. The one who can teach machines to destroy their enemies more effectively will emerge as the winner. All flying, swimming, and crawling robots serve merely as platforms for carrying weapons or transporting explosives. No matter how impressive these robots may seem, in reality, they're just buckets of bolts. In the future, artificial intelligence will be in charge, serving as a key player in upcoming conflicts. So, the world has entered a new phase of the Cold War, where the winner will be whoever can create truly autonomous combat systems. The idea of humans and machines working together on the battlefield will become obsolete even before the beginning of World War III. Why? Because any radio signal controlling the robot can be effectively jammed. A striking example of this is the Russian-Ukrainian war, where electronic warfare systems are highly sought-after assets on the front lines. They create invisible protective domes, and anything not directly controlled by humans or AI falls under the effect of radio interference. That's how this Russian kamikaze drone loses connection with the control panel and falls helplessly to the ground. Here's a video from the Ukrainian military showing how their jamming systems affect Russian drones and intercept their video signals. Yes, we can see what it sees. Right now, drones equipped with AI that can act autonomously even when the signal is lost. They are changing the rules of the game and knocking out enemy equipment that was previously impossible to reach, like this EW system that was destroyed by an autonomous drone. Some believe that the drones used by Ukrainians to attack Russian oil refineries are also equipped with AI, because they hit exactly where they are supposed to and are not affected by ECM. Russia's war in Ukraine has demonstrated that the technology is ready for real-world deployment. Loitering munitions, a form of robot air vehicle, have been widely used to find and attack armored vehicles and artillery. Ukrainian naval attack drones have paralyzed Russia's Black Sea fleet, forcing their crewed warships to stay in port. Robotic technologies are evolving exponentially. If Ukraine once started its drone warfare with Soviet-era Tu-141 Strizh drones, now it's hitting Russians deep in their territory with completely new AI developments. These innovations effortlessly cover distances over 1,000 miles within Russian borders, pinpointing targets with remarkable accuracy. Here's how the real robot rivalry looks in the Russian-Ukrainian war. In the video, a pair of flying drones armed with grenade launchers on their backs are seen taking out their ground-based affinities. Today's warfare increasingly resembles a video game, with real-life gamers on opposite sides of the battlefield blasting each other with their expensive, lethal toys. While some scare the world with nuclear threats, forward-thinking leaders of nations are investing in AI development and actively resisting attempts to limit the use of artificial intelligence for killing. The Times article does a great job of illustrating that. Quote, "Part of the reluctance from major military powers over a ban stems from the extent artificial intelligence, AI, has affected their defense industries. In addition to the US and China, these states also include the UK, Australia, Israel, South Korea, and a few others. Yet it is China that has become the most formidable challenger in the AI competition against the American superpower." The scale of preparations by countries such as China and the United States suggests that the age of warfighting robots is upon us, and each side is striving with all their might to win. To back this up, US Deputy Secretary of Defense Kathleen Hicks said that the United States military plans to start using thousands of autonomous weapon systems in the next 2 years in a bid to counter China's growing power. This inevitably leads to the question: how to control a kind of Windows operating system on a machine that carries a lethal charge and chooses its own target? A blue screen of death could actually be fatal. It's doubtful that macOS or Linux would appear more stable in a killer robot scenario. Can using autonomous robots comply with modern laws of armed conflict? Optimists state that robots can be carefully programmed to follow rules, and in the heat and chaos of battle, they might even obey better than humans. Here, we can also recall Asimov's 3 laws of robotics. Pessimists argue, noting that not all situations can be predicted, and that robots can misunderstand and attack when they shouldn't. According to Hollywood movies, the pessimists are right. AI can give great answers to questions and help out, but it can also be mistaken or define the whole of humanity as its main target. You can get it if you've ever used ChatGPT or Midjourney. And what if the price of a mistake is the life of a civilian? What if hundreds or thousands of combat robots stumble or malfunction? Should the desperate programmer who just committed a single error in the code be held accountable? Will the robot remember all the insults people inflicted on it? Unfortunately, all these touchy questions still remain unanswered. Share your predictions with us in the comments. So, AI is an instrument of war. It holds incredible potential and equally incredible dangers, just like nuclear weapons. Will there be a winner in this war? It's likely that software and hardware developers stand to gain the most, getting rich off their inventions. We'd like to believe that the winners will be regular folks like you and us, who in the not-so-distant future will be able to enjoy military innovations from the civilian perspective, just as we currently relish the conveniences of the internet, mobile communication, and satellite navigation, which were once secret military inventions themselves.